So continuing on with our top 10 series, in this video today we are going to talk about the best CDMs in FIFA 21 Ultimate Team. If you need to get your hands on some coins to improve your Ultimate Team, then check out the link in the description, igvault.com, and if you use the code Kieran at checkout, you'll get yourself a pretty nice discount. Now, before we get into the players, I do have to make one thing very, very clear. This is a top 10 CDMs video, and we are only going to include cards who come out as a CDM. So anyone that starts as a centre mid who might be converted to a CDM isn't going to feature in this video in particular. They might feature in a future top 10 video though, so do look out for that. Just for instance, players like One Touch Thomas Partey have played a lot as a CDM, but since he comes out as a centre mid, we unfortunately will not be using him. And that, to be honest, has actually made this video quite tough. Also worth mentioning, we are not including icons either, they are going to get their own separate video. Okay, now that's out the way, we are pretty much good to go, but as ever, I do want to invite you guys to participate in this video. In the comment section down below, let me know your top 10 or at least your top 5 CDMs in FIFA 21, and also let me know which position we should cover next. So let's begin. In at number 10, I have gone for Road to the Final Wilfred Ndidi. This is just a really solid item. Now, unfortunately, it's no longer an active card. Leicester did get knocked out of the Europa League, so no more upgrades will come, but it's just a really good option, and he's one of them that you're going to want to have on stay back while attacking and just sit and defend. He's not a well-rounded player, but he's very good at doing the defensive duties, and that's why he makes my top 10 for this video. If he was a bit more complete, he'd probably rank a bit higher, but as just someone to sit and defend, he's very good. Next, we have one of the brand new What If items, and it's also brand newly upgraded as well. We have What If Leroy Fer, who, I'm not going to lie, like when I first used him, I thought he was good, but I didn't think he was great. But I've since used him since he's got the upgrade, and he's become a really good defensive midfielder, and he's one of them that's got a bit of good in each area. He's quite strong in most areas. His dribbling isn't fantastic and he does turn like a bit of a truck, but because he's so physical and decent defensively, he does make plenty of tackles, and he's also got the ability to turn defense into attack as well with his passing, and the 4-star weak foot on this guy is also really useful for distributing. And on top of all that, he's also got a decent shot on him. Like, he's not a brilliant finisher by any means, but for a midfielder, his shooting's actually quite nice, and he certainly can be a threat from distance as well, especially with his shot power. Following on from him, in at number 8 is an SBC card, which unfortunately is no longer available. It's Bruno Ramirez from the Future Stars. Now, obviously, when this guy was released, it was a pick. You either got to choose the centre mid version or the CDM version, and I think like 99.9% of people who completed the SBC obviously went for the CDM version, and there's a reason for that. It's a really good card. He's got brilliant defensive awareness just as a base item of 91. He's got really nice ball control as well, and he's got a good bit of pace about him too, so he can really do it all in that CDM role. He's not a player who you really want on the box-to-box duty, but as someone to stay back and defend, he's very good in that role in particular. I just do wish he had a better weak foot, but yeah, great card, and for those of you who unlocked it, I'm sure most of you are pretty happy with it. The next item we're going to discuss is another one that unfortunately is no longer available, but this item was free. It was an objective card, and in my opinion, it's one of the best value objective cards we have had all year long. It's Tonali, who is just... he's just class. I really like this card. I actually think it's quite underrated, even though it is, you know, fairly high rated, but I just don't see it often enough. But for me, I think this card is fantastic. Now, if I ran with a Serie A side more, I would definitely get more usage out of this item, but unfortunately, I don't use that kind of team too often. But every time I do for objectives and stuff, Tonali straight in. He is an absolutely fantastic midfield option. Defensively, maybe not as strong as some other options, but he makes up for that in other areas. His passing is sublime for a defensive mid. His dribbling's also really nice, and also he's pretty physical as well. He just lacks maybe in the heading area, but other than that, really nice card that can offer a lot, not just defensively, but also offensively. In at 6 is another Future Stars item. It is Future Stars Reece James, and obviously he has 2 items in the game. He's got his right back card, but he also got the CDM item as well, and I actually really like this card. It just feels like quite mobile in game for a defensive mid at least, and yeah, he's strong. he's got a good tackling ability, and he's also got really nice passing as well. So the guy can certainly distribute from deep, and it's also worth noting, got some really good shot power as well. So if the chance does come to him, this kind of card can score goals. And in game, it's just a really nice item, and obviously a lot of people do actually like to play this guy as a centre back, but shockingly enough, he's also a really good CDM card. So yeah, very nice item, and understandably, he does not come cheap. Into the top 5 we go, and we actually have a second in form Thomas Delaney. Now, I think this is another one of them items that's very, very underrated. Now, the Bundesliga has actually got some really strong CDM options, and this is one of them. He is just very well rounded, and he just offers a lot. I was actually a really big fan of his first in form as a centre back, and I also really like the second in form as a midfielder. He's got good strength, very good stamina, his tackling ability is very nice. The only thing that kind of lets this card down a bit is the dribbling, to be honest, because his passing and shooting are actually very good, and he's also quite quick. 4-star weak footload definitely does help with his card, but as I say, I do wish he was a little bit better on the ball, but he's decent enough for that defensive mid role. Just ahead of Delaney is another Bundesliga option. It is this road to the final Zakaria, who in game is just stupidly fast, or at least it was for me anyway. And also when I come up against him, I hate playing against him because he's so quick and he's ridiculously strong in game. Now, there are some scenarios where like defensive mids don't actually need great tackling ability, just be a great physical presence, and that's kind of what happens with Zakaria, but he's also got good tackling ability. So yeah, he fits that DM mold really, really nicely. Very strong, very aggressive, good in the tackle, and also very, very quick. His passing isn't as good as some of the other defensive mid options, but he makes up for it with like pure presence in a match. I don't think many people will be surprised to see Foot Freeze Marquinhos make my top 10 because, yeah, this card, if you play champs, you will come up against it a lot. Mainly because of the strong link to Neymar and Mbappe, or the perfect link to Neymar, sorry, but also because it's just a very good item. Great pace, very good defending, nice physicals. Also, the passing is very, very nice. So, yeah, just a really, really good defensive mid option, and I get the feeling people will be using this card all the way up to Team of the Season and maybe further on because the card just is that good. Obviously, originally a centre-back in the game, this is a position change item to CDM, and yeah, fits that role really, really nicely. Once again, dribbling isn't fantastic in-game, but he does have good ball control, and defensively he is pretty solid. Do wish he was a bit stronger, but with the Yankee Chem style, that does certainly give him a big enough boost in that physical department. So yeah, definitely worthy of a top 3 spot for me. In at number 2 is Team of the Year, Joshua Kimmich. Now, some people are going to be absolutely shocked at this, the fact that he's not number 1. Now, I'll explain why when we talk about the number 1, but let's talk about Kimmich first, because he is very, very deserving of a top 2 spot. This card is just fantastic, as you would expect from a Team of the Year item. In my opinion, I think EA rated it incorrectly. I thought Kimmich deserved a higher rating, and I still do to this day. He had an absolutely ridiculous season for Bayern Munich. But anyway, this card is ridiculous in game. It is so quick, very good defensively, physicals are good, dribbling on the ball ability is very nice, and passing is also exceptional. I muchly prefer this item as a centre mid rather than a CDM, but obviously he does fit the box-to-box CDM role if you go with 2 CDMs. But yeah, absolutely outstanding card, and I'm sure those of you who've tried him will be fully aware of that. The card in game, as I say, is so quick and so good on the ball. So, who is my CDM? Who is the player that's actually beating Team of the Year Kimmich to the number 1 spot? It is, what if, Kante. Now, let me explain why Kante is ahead of Kimmich in this battle for top CDM. For me, when it comes to just defending and that CDM role, Kante fits it better. He's just Kante. In this game, he is just Kante. You know what I mean? He's OP. Like, obviously, he's high rated, but he still just seems to outperform everyone. He seems to catch up to everyone. He seems to dispossess everyone. And he's just a small little player who's just sprinting all over the pitch, covering everywhere. That's why I like him. That's why he is my number 1. He just seems, you know, the best CDM in the game for me, other than icons. He really, really does. And if we're talking about just out-and-out defensive mids, I would rather him than a Kimmich. Now, if I was talking about a box-to-box CDM or a centre mid, I would definitely go for Kimmich. But as someone who I want to sit back and defend, I want Kante in that position because for me, he does the best job in the game as things stand. Now, maybe better CDMs will come along in the coming months, but for as things stand right now, Kante is the one for me. And when he does get that upgrade to the 93 rated, which is very, very likely that he will, that card's going to be even better. So, yeah, there is that. So, yeah, Kante is my number one. So guys, there you have it. Those are my top 10 CDMs in FIFA 21 Ultimate Team. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm pretty sure some of my choices are definitely going to cause some discussion, and I also think the way that I've actually done this video will also cause some discussion with me not including centre mids as CDMs. As I say, centre mids will be covered, don't worry, in a different video. But that is going to do us for this one. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like rating on it. Be sure to be active in the comments. Let me know your top 10 or at least your top 5 and all that good stuff, and also let me know which position we should cover next. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.